Another way of capturing what probability is about is through probability tables. Now, what are probability tables? Essentially, they're tables that chart up the different probabilities of particular events. And the interesting thing about probability tables, indeed all of probabilities, is that they always have to add up to 1. All different probabilities combined always add up to 1. So for example, if there was a 1/4 chance of something happening, and there's 4 different people in the room, and the chances of any one of those people getting what they want is 1/4, then you notice 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4 would be 1. Any different probability always together with all the different outcomes add up to 1. How about in this case, let's talk about a game of football, or soccer if you're American. In this game of football, we're going to say between these two teams, perhaps Manchester City and Barcelona. Let's label that Manchester City versus Barcelona. The chances of Manchester City winning, and let's put win for Manchester City, and then we have a draw here, and then a loss here, which would never happen, but maybe. So the chances of Man City winning, let's call that 0.5. So there's a 0.5 or 50-50 chance of Man City winning. And the chance of Man City drawing, let's call 0.28. What's the chances of Man City losing? What we need to do with a probability table is we need to remember that core fact about probability, that all probabilities add up to 1. In fact, what I advise students to do is actually draw a plus, like so, and a plus between all the different rows and columns, and then at the end have an equals, and then an equals to 1. Because we know every different column has to add up to 1. Right, we have a little equation then, we can write it out. We're just going to write out exactly what I've just done with the plus signs. So we have 0.5 plus 0.28 plus something, let's call it question mark, equals 1. We need to find that question mark. To add up 0.5 and 0.28, I highly advise you write them one on top of each other. Many students make the mistake of saying that these two would become 0.33 or something like that. And that problem can arise if you write them in the wrong place. For example, you might write 0.28 like so. So you'd add the 5 to the 8, etc. What we need to do is be careful and write them right on top of each other with the number after the decimal place being just below the number after the decimal place for the different number, like so. If it helps, you can even change the 0.5 into a 0.50. Now we're going to add these two probabilities, and that becomes 8, this becomes 7. So we have 0.78. Our equation is now 0.78 plus something equals to 1. A quick way to solve that would be 1, which is the same as 1.00, take away 0.78. 0.78. Whoops. There we are. And now let's align that so all the different numbers are correctly beneath where they need to be. 0 take away 8 we can't do, so we're going to have to borrow 1 from our older brother 10 here. That 1 becomes a 0, the 0 becomes a 9. If you're not sure about subtracting, I have done another video on that, so check that out. And this 0 becomes a 10. 10 take away 8 is 2, 9 take away 7 is 2, and 0 take away 0 is 0. So the chances of Manchester City losing is 0.22 or 22%. To convert between decimals and percentages, you just times by 100. So without knowing anything about losses, just from knowing what the chances are for winning and drawing, we've worked out that the chances of losing is 0.22 because we know all probabilities add up to 1.